Hey friends, so we're back. We're on page 437, masking an object with a shape. So in our layers panel, we are going to go to the women's sublayer. We're going to hide berries and corn. We're hiding layers really just to keep things simple. We're not going to try to confuse ourselves. So we're on the women's sublayer, and we are going to select this carrots.jpg. Object arrange, send to back, and it's going to reveal that circle that we saw earlier. So we're going to drag selection marquee around both, right there to select both. What we're going to do is object clipping mask make, and it's going to clip it to this circle right there, and we're going to deselect. And that actually was super simple. And like before, you can change the path, the contents, and then you can move the contents around if you want to see what looks nicer. So we're going to hide the women's sublayer, and we're going to go back up to masking objects with multiple shapes. So we're going to open up the berries and corn. Again, deselect everything. And with the selection, so we're going to do object show all. So we're bringing that original berry image that we saw earlier. And with the selection tool, we are going to click on the edge of the fresh text shapes to show the group of text shapes. So we're just clicking on the fresh, and this is no longer a live text. This is an object made from text. They did a live text and they create outlines to make it into an object. So we're going to do object compound path make, because there's a lot of small parts with this group text object. So we're doing a compound path, and the bottom page 438 talks about it more. So with this compound path still selected, we're going to shift click the berries images behind it. And what we're going to do is do Command or Control 7 as a keyboard shortcut to make a clipping mask. So everything, all that image is clipped to this text, which is pretty cool. And you notice the edit contents and the edit clipping path buttons are up top. So actually, we're going to bring back more graphic styles. So while this is still selected, we are going to pull up the graphic styles icon, and we are looking for large text, which is this one here. And adds a nice drop shadow to it. The next is we're going to click on our stroke panel. We're going to change the weight to 3, and make sure that stroke is white. And then now we're going to deselect. But we have a cool sort of clipping path, clipping mask right here. So we're going to create an opacity mask. So an opacity mask is different than a clipping mask, because it allows us to not only mask an object, but alter the transparency of the artwork. The opacity mask is made and edited using the transparency panel. So we're going to open up the layers panel, and we're going to hide the berries and work on background. So we're working on the background layer, and what we're going to do is select our rectangular tool, and we're going to click, because we're going to give a very specific width. It's the width of 8.75 and the height of 4.2. And click OK, and it gives us a shape. While it's selected, we're going to press D on our keyboard to default to the white stroke, so the white fill and the black stroke for the default. With our selection tool keyboard shortcut V, we're going to kind of drag it to the bottom to the red bleed guides. I'll just kind of snap to it if our smart guides are on. With the Shift key, we're going to select the market.jpg as well, and it says Mixed Objects in our control panel. Then next, we are going to click the Transparency panel, and our side panel is right here. If it's not there, you can go to Window, Transparency, and it opens up this box for you. So it's kind of where you do blending modes and whatnot. So we're going to click this Make Mask button because we're doing a transparency or opacity mask. So as you can see, we see the image behind it and then that blue that we saw in the beginning. So it wants us to replace essentials. So with the transparency mask icon open, you're going to shift click the mask thumbnail. So holding down shift, and I'm clicking this and it gives this red X. In the transparency panel, shift click the mask thumbnail to enable the mask again. So that just kind of lets us know that we can disable it when we can or want to. So clicking the opacity mask in the transparency panel selects the mask on the artboard. If the mask isn't selected, you need to select it with the selection tool to kind of select it. In the layers panel icon down here, if we toggle open, we notice that we have market. You should notice the layer. It should say something about a transparency. Mask appears indicating the mask, but it's not really located. But it's there. So we're just going to trust the word for it. So with the mask selected in the transparency panel, so we're going to select it here. Actually, yes, so you want to make sure it's selected there, and if you go to layers panel, it'll just say opacity mask, the information there. We're going to make sure we're there. And what we're going to do is pull up our gradient tool. Make sure we are on a black and white gradient. Right there. And it kind of does that from left to right. That's not really what we want to do. So we're going to go to View, View, Hide Gradient Annotator to hide that. Now with our gradient tool, we're going to kind of redo the gradient annotator. We're going to make sure the fill box is selected, which mine wasn't, so I couldn't do this. We're going to shift click and change the view. We want it to be darker up top. You can kind of play around with where you want it. You want it to be kind of a light softness to it. Like above. So if we go to here, we notice that there's kind of a softness to it to show us that gradient has changed. Now we can go to View, Show Gradient Annotator, so it shows us where that line is. So the next, we're going to move the image but not the opacity mask. So in the Layers Transparency panel, click the image thumbnail right here, and we're going to click the link to move the image. So we unlink it. With the selection tool, we're going to begin dragging the market.psd down. Let's hold down Shift. It's not wanting me to do it. There we go. So I had to start clicking first, then holding down Shift. But basically, you want most of the market in the bottom of this image. We're going to deselect, do a Command S, and that'll be it for this video, and I'll see you for the next one.